What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Hold Husband Podcast. I'm your host, Terry Duran. I got my co-host, Jay Bob, on the line with me. Merry Christmas, bro. How you doing?
Merry Christmas, man. Hope everybody, enjoying their holiday or have enjoyed their holiday here with family and friends. And, Estes, obviously, I know he's had family that he's enjoying with. So we hope to have him back next week for the new year here. But want to quickly remind you, you can catch us on TikTok as well. Subscribe to us on YouTube at Hold Husband Podcast. And for those of you interested in promos and shots, you can shoot us a DM on IG at Hold Husband Podcast, as well as emails at holdhusbandpodcast@gmail.com. All right, T.
I want to start off by giving a shout out to my man, Brother Soul Productions, for keeping us laced with our background music. I'd like to remind y'all to continue supporting the podcast through our Cash App and our PayPal. And I'd also like to remind everybody that you can catch the audio playback of the podcast every Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on the core94.com. Now, today's episode is called 'Tis the Season. Every year we like to discuss the holidays and how Christmas and the expectations associated with it can impact dating, relationships, marriages, etc. So that's always a good, interesting conversation. But y'all know how we do around here, man. We like to discuss stuff that we've seen to go viral or real interesting videos we've seen on the internet. So we got a couple interesting videos. This first video is a video. I forget the man's name. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But he has a video where he's talking about the complaints he gets from a lot of his male clients. Let's take a look.
I hear men say all the time, she's always focusing on what I'm doing wrong. She's always focusing on where I'm missing. She's always focusing on the negative. It's discouraging. I think women have to do a better job of affirming and validating their man. It ain't all bad. If you're going to tell him what he's not doing well, make sure you've told him 5 ways he is doing well. Isn't this what you did with your kids when you were raising kids? Didn't you affirm your kids? Even after a mess up, didn't you remind him how much you love him? He has that little boy still inside of him, and that little boy still needs to be nurtured.
I think there's a lot of truth in what he's saying. I've mentioned several times that I think women in general, when they're evaluating a random guy or even in a relationship, their first thought is what they do not like about the guy, what he's missing, what he don't got, how broke he is. Like, so their initial thoughts on men, it kind of just seems like their perspective on men in general starts from the negative perspective. And I think men are the opposite. We in general, we're visual creatures, but when we do like a woman, we focus more, we try to spend our time focusing on what we do like about her, and we kind of find ways or to either deal with or overlook the things that you dislike about her. And I think that men are the same way in relationships, which is why, women are the ones that initiate divorce and end relationships because of their happiness all the time.
Yep. Listen, we all know women are emotional creatures biologically, right? So a lot of these are based on emotions. And, it seems like it's easier to focus on the negative than opposed to the positive. And I think even just people in general can be guilty of that, right? You could do 100 things good for them, 100 things right, but they'll focus on the one thing that was negative, the one thing you did wrong, as opposed to the 100 other things.
Yeah, that's kind of human nature, like in regards to social media, how you can spot the negative comment in your comments and all that. So I think men and women do that, have that aspect of our nature to us. But what I think the difference is, or where women are different, is there's this need to constantly remind a man what he's doing wrong or what he's not. And a lot of times it's coming from a flawed perspective, because from male observation, a lot of women judge male thinking and behavior based off of their female value system.
Right.
So anything that differs from what she would have thought, what she would have felt, or what she would have done, they automatically treat it as if it's something wrong with it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you tripping. Like, nah, that's just how men operate. And so a lot of these the wrongs that she's pointing out are really just differences of opinion, where she's not able to think and comprehend things like a man. And that creates a lot of problem because it's like we see all the mistakes women make with their intuition and their judgment and their decision. So when they come with us like, oh no, everything you thinking and doing is wrong because you should have thought about it like a woman, that's very problematic for men to deal with long term.
Yeah, I think the problem here is I think many women tend to treat their feelings like they're facts, right? She feels a way, and she thinks it's a fact just simply because she feels that way, and it's not. That is definitely not the case there. And but with men, we're a lot for the most part, men are logical creatures. So we're trying to reason and do things logically as opposed to just making an emotional decision. Because for us, it doesn't work for us when we make an emotional decision. For women, yeah, they do it because a lot of times they get a pass for it.
Yeah, and then to tie back into the video, guys don't get compliments a lot. Guys don't have people in their comments. Well, I guess that depends on what type of content you put out. You can create specific content to generate that type of feedback, but that's not going to really benefit you if you're in a relationship. Single dude, do your thing. That's what you should be doing, marketing yourself. But when you're in a relationship with a woman, like if your man need you to gas him up every day to do his basic duties, then you got an issue. But occasionally telling him if you, like he said, if you gonna point out 3 or 4 things that he did wrong, make sure you offset that with some compliments or some positive feedback on the things that he is doing right. Because that's the only way that you're going to have a positive vibe on a relationship. The reason that women have this reputation for being nagging and all that type is because overwhelmingly they feel the need to tell a man every time that they have a problem with something, where men, that's kind of childish and petty to do. So if a man just wanted to point out everything that you're not doing up to standard or everything you're not doing perfect, it would be chaos in a relationship.
Because you know what? I don't think some women aren't going to be able to handle that very well. Even if like, let's just say the criticism is constructive, some women may not handle that very well. As men, society tells us, society holds us accountable all the time, right? So we're kind of used to, a lot of criticism. But like you said, men don't want to just be dagged, just be told everything negative and not being told the things that he's doing right or getting any kind of affirmation.
Yeah, and you're right. How you handle criticism or feedback, even when it's negative, is largely a reflection of your emotional maturity, right? Because somebody can be giving you some feedback and telling you how what you are thinking is wrong. You know what I mean? And that's fine. I like being corrected. I like when somebody can point out to me that something that I'm thinking or doing that is either counterproductive to what I'm trying to do. I experience that at work a lot. I get feedback and have to make corrections all the time. But that is how you improve. That's how you get better. And I'm perfectly fine with that. I know that I'm not perfect. I know that I can make mistakes. But one thing that a quality man is always going to be able to do, he's always going to be able to provide a logical explanation for why he thinks, believes, or feels a certain way. And he'll be able to respond to follow-up questions. And, if you ask probing questions or additional information, he can provide you additional insight into his thinking or behavior. That's how you're dealing with somebody that's being transparent with you and keeping it real. And their opinion can change when new information is presented. So in regards to the relationship itself, man, as long as you can avoid everything being negative, feedback and criticism is a necessary tool for a parent-child relationship, for coach, player, student, teacher. It's always a necessity.
Absolutely. How do you expect to get better in anything, right, if you can't take any sort of constructive feedback or criticism, right? If everybody's just telling you everything is good, everything's perfect, it doesn't. I don't think it helps you in the long run here, because the moment you're going to look like, well, I didn't do anything wrong here. So I think it's like you said, it's a necessity in this world, just on both sides.
Yeah, and a lot of times when a guy's given criticism from another guy, like you said, the accountability for men is harsh. You overweight and your partner's telling you fat. It's not. It might be coming at your expense. It might be coming as everybody laughing at you. But the point or the truth in the criticism should be more than enough. That and you looking at yourself in the mirror should be more than enough for you to actually take action on the joke, the criticism, or whatever, and do something about it. And that may involve getting help. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't realize until I was obese how hard. I had never had to lose weight before. I had never had to focus on staying fit, or you know what I'm saying? Like, so if you ain't never done it, I remember going to the gym, to the fitness center in our apartment for years, but I wasn't doing I didn't know what I should have been doing.
Right.
I wasn't coming out drenched in sweat. I wasn't doing effective exercise. I was doing what I saw on the treadmill, doing a little machine. Ooh. Getting help is a very smart thing to do when trying to address criticism. So I'll just leave it at that. I want us to keep these rolling now. This next video is a video I saw. I believe it's called the Learn the Game podcast. Young Goldie was talking to a woman about tricking on a woman once you first meet her. Let's take a look.
Wow.
Why would I do that?
That should be bare minimum for the girl that you're sleeping with. Like, your woman, it's like, if I...
Whoa. Because you know what we're talking about. Because I'm sleeping with her, I should pay for her nails and her hair. You know what that's called? It's a favor for a favor. I don't do that. I don't trick. So if she wants me, she got to pay for free, right? Which means because she like me, not because I'm doing this and I'm doing that. As soon as I start doing this and doing that, that's why she's doing it. If the just with me and me and I ain't got to do nothing and she just like who I am, then yeah, later down the line, I'll do that for you once I know that you're giving me yourself because you like me, not because I'm doing these things. But if I do these things, I don't know if you like me, you like these things. I don't know. I'm weird. I like a woman to like me. How would I know if a woman likes me if I'm doing all that? The only way I can know if a woman likes me is if I don't do anything but give her me and she stick around, right? Are you comprehending what I'm saying?
No, because sometimes she could just be like the finesse game. Like, it's like a bailing thing. Like, oh, he keep trying to act like he don't like me. He keep trying to act like he don't like me like that. He's not giving me nothing. I'm gonna show him.
Do y'all hear her?
I'm gonna show him. I don't think that means she really likes you.
So I think it's pretty obvious that she's one of the women that has a gold digging mindset. Because what he said is, I mean, for a guy, dating ain't free. You're going to have to pay for food, entertainment, etc. Right? So that's just part of the game. That's an embedded cost. The gas, the time, the energy that it takes to engage with the woman, spend time with her, etc. But we've talked several times about how a date can be anywhere. Like, really, it's just one-on-one time where you kicking it with somebody. So that could be chilling at your apartment. You know, that back when I was dating, that was one of the best things to do. When we met somebody new, we could invite chicks to our apartment, and they usually brought a friend or a cousin or a roommate. You know what I'm saying? And I had a frat brother or a partner that you can, you know, use the synergy and get things to pop off with. But the idea that tricking on a chick to get her to like you, that is one of the fastest ways for a dude to get taken advantage of and viewed and treated like a sucker. Because the truth is, the guys that women actually like get time, attention, and sex from women by just presenting their lifestyle and doing normal things. That they invite a woman to be a part of what they got going on. They were already going to go bowling with their partners. They just invited you along and end up spending the extra $40. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, you know, at the end of the day, even as a man, you shouldn't even lead with money anyway. I feel like I always thought that was lame. I feel like if you gotta lead with money, you're trying to compensate for a lack of game, and you shouldn't just be getting her nails done, you know, when you're initially meeting her, when you're in initial dating stages, that's not something you should do, because like you said, you're trying to get to know the woman and you want the woman to actually like you. Now, I feel like this: if she is requiring you to do that in order to date her, she doesn't like you, because like you said, the guy's spending time, energy, money, attention to. She's not requiring all that out of him. All she's happy with the time spent with him, as opposed to what he could do for her monetarily.
Yeah, guys that the women that have that mindset, I think a large part of that is the songs and what they hear in the music.
Oh, no question.
Take her shopping, do this, buy her bag, buy, what I'm saying? Like, they create this extravagant, materialistic lifestyle that all of them strive for that doesn't represent reality. And unfortunately, a lot of them judge guys by a celebrity lifestyle that the typical person, especially a young person, cannot afford to maintain. So to me, women like the lady in the video, you can figure out where a woman's mindset is just through a few conversations. It don't even have to be a long conversation. A woman that is genuinely attracted to you physically, she likes what she sees when y'all was in person, and actually interested in getting to know you, is going to be a lot more receptive to just linking up with you wherever, as long as y'all could be doing something together that y'all both enjoy. So I'm totally with Goldie. I just wanted to add the caveat that he's not saying that you're not gonna have to spend $0 to date you.
Right.
That's not a realistic expectation. But you should not be having to pay for her nails and pay for her babysitter. Do none of the crazy stuff these chicks need.
Exactly. And I remember
everything.
And I remember we covered a video on that a while back, a couple of years back, where young ladies came out saying, "Hey, if you want to date me, you need to pay for my Uber back there and back, and pay for dinner and do all this." I'm like, but I don't know you, like I don't know you like that to even do all that. So why should I be expected to do that? But like you said, dating is always, no matter what, like you said, dating's gonna cost. Whether if you're going out somewhere, it's gonna cost. Even if it's just coffee, right? Hey, somebody still has to pay for the coffee. And I think most men assume when they're going out with a woman on a date, they assume they're going to pay unless she says otherwise, right? Every date I've been on, I pretty much assume I'm going to pay. I wouldn't go anywhere, even if she offers to take me anywhere. I'm not going to go anywhere that I don't believe I can afford here, right? And
that's
affordable,
true.
And affordable is relative here.
Yeah, depending on your tax bracket and your income. But you're right. I mean, I've always felt like if I invited someone, somewhere, exactly, I'm gonna pay for it. And guys are usually the initiator. Man, what you doing? Let's go here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm always having to suggest, you hungry? Let's do this. Or, man, I wanted to go do this. Like, I'm always, ever since high school, once I started working and had my own money, I can always suggest something that we can go do. Let's go to the mall. Let's do this, because I want to be able. Just being around somebody that I'm interested in is fun to me. You know what I mean? And that's the easiest path to get towards romantically involved with them. One-on-one. That's how you end up kissing. That's how you end up getting comfortable enough to be close to where you can touch and do all those type of things. So that's always, if I can do it, I'm cool with paying for what we got to eat and what we got to do. That was always that's my reason for working and having income. Exactly. It's really no different than what happens when you with your partners. We kicking it and I'm like, man, I'm hungry. Let's go here. You know what I'm saying? Like, if one of my partners is broke, I mean, guys usually have their own money. But if one of my partners is broke, then it's cool, man. I got you. You know what I'm saying? Like, or if we already know that situation, I know he just lost, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. I'm going to have to pay regardless of where I'm going to hang out with a woman or a man. I expect that. That's why men can't go out broke. Like, you'll crash if you are a man and you leave your house and your account is in a negative, or you are broke and you are going to party or do some type of entertainment. To me, that's a major flag that your priorities are totally out of whack.
No question about it. I think that's something you should grow out of after like your, I guess early 20s. Because like I said, I'm sure we've all had situations like that, in our young, 20, 21, maybe 22, accounts and we just went out anyway, or we just hope we were hoping certain money hit our account by then, and it didn't work out that way. But yeah, in your 30s, like you say, if you're doing it in your, in your late 20s, 30s, 40s, yeah, that use a crash study for doing that. Like, it's just like, who does that this day and age?
Yeah, that's one thing. And the women that you meet a new dude and now he got to pay for your hair and nails to get done. To me, that gives off bum energy. And as a guy that knows the difference between when a woman is genuinely interested in you and when she's not, that would be almost an instant cutoff for me. You know what I mean? I don't know how often, I see on my timeline, but I would imagine that these are the outliers. I don't think this is the norm, but the request that women have, cash at me this or send me this, Zelle request, all those type of things just make me very skeptical about the climate of today's dating.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I'm not gonna say okay, but I think in some cases it's gotten to the point where your dating became somewhat transactional. And like I said, it's not all women that do this, but you do have a sector of women who are like that, right? For me, I'm not doing anything for, where it's getting her nails, hair and nails done, unless, this is somebody I'm exclusively dating or in a relationship. At that point, you don't mind doing something like that for her because you're like, okay, she's with me and she represents me.
True. And if you're in a relationship, I think I would expect you have to have some type of understanding of their financial situation and how they maintain their lifestyle. If you don't know those basic things, then you have failed the dating phase. You are not having the kind of conversations that are necessary to determine real compatibility and long-term dating success. Because we talk about how the honeymoon phase and how that initial phase of dating impacts everybody, where you excited to be around them, you're fantasizing about them, you could be, infatuated with the idea of being with them, and for the most part, it's conflict free. They're not exposing you to the problematic areas of their life. They're not, you haven't caught them in a lie. They haven't betrayed you yet. All these things are only things that can happen once someone has at least built a certain level of trust and you have an expectation of a certain behavior from that person. So the dating phase, you have to apply some logic to it, because those first couple of months or those first couple of interactions do not paint the full story of what you're dealing with. That's why you shouldn't be rushing into a relationship. Why somebody that, is love bombing you and all that from the very beginning should be seen as a red flag. All Absolutely. Those are things that do not represent how the natural dating phase takes place.
Yeah, but a question, like, don't you think that, kind of how you start the initial dating stages with somebody kind of sets the tone of how it might go?
Yeah, I do. If you don't have realistic expectations or you don't understand how things actually work, if you expect where we went on our first date is where we're gonna be going every weekend while we dating, then that you have the problem. Like, what you are going to do with the person, the majority of the time, what their life looks like Monday through Friday, you should be seeing how that merges with your Monday through Friday. The weekends are going to vary depending on your profession, your lifestyle, etc. But when you are dating and you want to figure out whether your lifestyle and your interests align with someone else's, you can't use it off what they do on how much they party on the weekend or what they do in a unusual situation. The majority of the days of your relationship are going to be normal days where I go to work. Do your schedules align with one another? Do your interests align with one another? Does your lifestyle? Are you can tell whether somebody they got to be out Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's probably not going to align with somebody that's more of a homebody. So all these are things where you can figure out where are you at? Where am I at? And is there a compromise that can be made? Okay, she like to go out a lot. I don't really go out that much. Is it something that she can meet me in the middle? She can go down, go out a little bit less. So these are all the type of conversations that you should be having. And for me, I would always have future tense hypothetical conversations with women when I was dating, to get their minds, pick their brain on different things. But in today's era, man, there's so many discussions and conversations on social media that you can discuss to gauge someone's perspective on things. That should be what you're doing to have interesting conversations, in my opinion.
I agree with that one.
All right, man, looks like we up against the clock. We about to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be getting into tonight's topic, 'Tis the Season. We're going to be going in depth about how the Christmas and the holiday season impacts dating, and how the expectations that people have impacts relationships. You are tuned into the Hold a Husband podcast. We'll be back in a minute. Hi, I'm relationship coach and author Terry Duran, and I am pleased to announce that my book, It's Not That Complicated, is finally available as an audiobook. So if you don't like to read, or you just don't have time to read a paperback book, this audiobook is perfect for you. You can listen to it while you're in your car, while you're at work, etc. In the book, I break down how husband material men think and operate in regards to sex, love, and relationships, and I provide real quality insight on how husband material men approach dating. The audiobook is available on audible.com and on iTunes. All you have to do is go to one of the websites and search for my name, Terry Duran. Go download your copy today. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Hold a Husband podcast. Today's episode is titled 'Tis the Season, and we're having a conversation about how Christmas and the holiday season can expose relationship problems, and actually can create some positive opportunities as well. At the end of the year, we like to have these conversations because you always see these viral situations, how materialistic, ungrateful people, in relationships, cut off people, etc., over Christmas. To me, that's always foolishness. Christmas is for the kids for the most part. As far as gifting and all that type of stuff, adults that make a big deal out of not getting what they want and not getting gifts, to me, that says a lot about them, that individual. And to me, that's a major red flag. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, it can set off, it can bring positive, vibes to the relationship. But like you said, there's also the negative end of it because, somebody wanted, gift A, but ended up with gift B, and all of a sudden. And I think you see it more with, I guess, more females than men. I mean, obviously, you probably do have some men, but, but like you said, Christmas is mainly, we do, we go all out for mainly our kids for Christmas.
Yeah, when I think about that, like a man complaining about Christmas, now one thing, men do a lot of providing. I can understand a man complaining about not being appreciated, for Christmas or respected, in a scenario where a woman had this long, extravagant list and made a big deal about exchanging gifts and all that. We've seen those kind of scenarios too. Even though it should be on the man to have some discernment, like you have at a certain point as a man, you have to be able to tell a woman no. And if you are putting yourself in debt for Christmas gifts, that is a crash dummy move on that you have to be accountable for. Like Christmas ain't there are gonna be certain times where you might not be able to get a gift for Christmas. You might not be able to exchange gifts. And that should be fine because that's not what it should be about anyway. But I wanted to ask you this, as a single person.
Yep.
how long do you have to be dating someone before a gift exchange is kind of an expectation? What are your thoughts?
I don't necessarily say there's a time on it per se. I think once you establish, okay, we are, exclusively dating, and want to exchange this, and I think that should be a
So
distinction.
that's the only time you would do it. Like if you had just been kicking it with a chick, you met a chick in August or September, y'all kicking it, but y'all not exclusive. You would.
So it would depend. If we're aligned and I feel like it's going somewhere, I wouldn't mind doing something for her for Christmas, or getting her, a gift showing, hey, I'm still interested and I want this to progress somewhere. So in that situation, I wouldn't mind doing that, right? Because I feel like if you build something, if it's just like you're just casually seeing her every month, a couple times at the month, and it's just something casual, then no. But if we're actually dating and we're building towards something and it's going somewhere, yeah, I wouldn't mind getting her a gift for Christmas.
I don't have, I have very limited dating experience as an adult. So I can just think back to me and my wife once we started kicking it heavy. I remember it was 2001. We started kicking it heavy in like September. So we started sleeping together in that fall. And then that Christmas, she was from New Orleans. And so my grandmother was right outside of New Orleans. So me and my roommate would always go to my grandma's house to eat, Christmas food and all that type of stuff. But this particular Christmas, I made time to go to her house and see her family and all that. So it was the first time that I actually left my grandma's house to go see somebody else and do those type of things. We didn't exchange gifts because we were broke at the time. But in regards to how I would kind of take the approach that you had, something $100, something within reason. A gift card, something to show you that I did think about you, and I do want you to have something, or I want to exchange some type of gift. But I think the more important thing, I guess, is outside of the gift exchange is, when do you bring someone around your family? Because to me, I don't think that's an end all be all. To me, that's a part of the process and can be a very effective tool to help you evaluate someone, seeing how they maneuver the family dynamic at a holiday scenario has always been a magnitude of information for me. What are your thoughts on that?
No, absolutely. I guess, spending Christmas on with somebody, and with, somebody that does have kids. Yeah. And, like you said earlier too, it's a crash of admission if you're putting yourself in debt for Christmas, because I think this is like one of the most stressful holidays. So they've said here, because people do go into debt, credit card debt, Klarna, Afterpay, debt over Christmas. So it's a big deal for a lot of folks. And I guess more so men feel pressured in this than the women do.
I can understand why. We see the videos where men are getting clowned for what they did, what they could afford. A lot of these expectations that women have are based off of celebrity lifestyle, right? Where celebrities are gifted a lot of items, where they make millions of dollars and they can afford to do these type of things. For, the Rolls Royce with the bow on it. So now she's complaining about the Honda that her man got. Like, to me, all these things are a lack of appreciation, because as a man, I don't expect nothing for Christmas. I don't go through the year thinking, yeah, I'm gonna ask my wife and daughter to give me this for Christmas. Like, I don't even think about that at all.
Man, it's funny. I could relate to that firsthand. So, I went over to a friend's house for Christmas. Him, his wife, and so I got a gift for him, his wife, and his son's an adult. He has an adult son. But I know him also. Did I expect anything out of it? No. I was just like, hey, thanks for having me over. Thanks for inviting me. Hey, it's a pleasure. And that was it. I was okay one way or the other. If they did, cool. Hey, great. I appreciate that as well. If they didn't, it wasn't a big deal to me regardless. I was just indifferent there.
I'm interested because talking about how dating women with kids or people with kids in general, Christmas is one of those holidays where it exposes a lot. People that are cheating get exposed. What people's relationship is with a baby daddy or they exes comes into play. So there are a lot of different dynamics. We get a lot of engagements on Christmas. So somebody you announce that you engaged. Now the other people, screenshot and share and all these type of things. So there's a lot of Christmas chaos that come with these type of scenarios. But in regards to dating a woman with kids, do you think that there's additional pressure on a man to get gifts for her kids? Like, I've never had to deal with that.
I think there is, because I think there's an assumption and expectation that he's going to go get gifts for her kid, especially if he already has kids from a previous relationship and they're dating. I think there's going to be an expectation, like, let's just say they celebrate Christmas together and with all their kids, right? And he gets gifts for his kids and not her kids. Now she's going to feel some kind of way about it. So I think it's almost.
Do you think she's going to do the same thing?
The funny part, I don't like, and I can be wrong here. I agree, and I agree with that. And honestly, I would hope I'd be wrong here, but in some cases, I don't see it, reciprocating the same way. But I think it should go both ways.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if y'all living together or something to that effect, that may be something where y'all pool money on gifts or whatnot. But I can see that, because I guess it's always gonna be pressure on a man, because anytime you're involved with a woman and they hit you with the, I don't know, I'm gonna pay this bill, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, those kind of I need help or I'm struggling conversations, there's always going to be pressure on a man to do something about it, because we know that there are a lot of women that have soon as you broke, well, you sleeping with such and such, how you broke, like how you got a dude that you can call when you horny, but you can't call when you need something. And even though a guy could give a woman stuff throughout the year, Christmas, most people are broke. Most people do a lot of spending around Christmas. So just because you ask the dude that you're sleeping with for some help around Christmas, don't mean he's in a position to give you help. So that reality and how the response to it is can get you cut off. I see. I see the videos. I see the foolish decision making that people make over Christmas. And to me, I guess you could the glass half full perspective is you dodged a bullet. You got rid of somebody that's materialistic or only childish, etc. So I guess you can look at it from that perspective too.
Yeah, but you see, and it's crazy because you do see a lot of ungrateful, especially more so on the women's side, a lot of ungrateful women on the internet. Based on what she got on Christmas, even with, like you said, the engagement rings. Even that, I mean, I know we had one where she didn't, because she didn't get the certain ring she wanted, she broke up. I mean, it wasn't a Christmas gift per se, but these situations do happen on Christmas as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I mean, this happens mainly for guys that have more than one baby mama, where there's comparisons. What you do for my kid, what you do for this.
Yeah.
All these things are kind of negative spirited in my opinion, because you should be thankful for anything that you get. And if you approach Christmas not expecting anything, then it's hard to be disappointed or angry or upset when you don't get something. So I think that if you can calibrate your expectations, but I guess that's very hard to do with social media if that's what you are basing your dating and life expectations off of. Because a lot of Christmas is also a highlight of the year. Everybody can have a moment where you're showing what you've done for your loved ones and whatnot. And I'm all for that. That's great. But the adults in the room need to have realistic expectations on what is affordable and what Christmas really is about. Because my mindset and always on Christmas is them bills was coming up on January 1st. That rent, the car notes, all that stuff that you have to pay or that you are responsible for does not care about Christmas and how lit your Christmas is. You know, so to me, going into January, not with no eviction notices or bills about to be cut off, to me, that's what the holiday season is about. I'll do as much as I can, but the bills got to be paid and we got to be able to move into the year straight. So your expectations need to align with what reality is going to provide for us. So now I wanted to ask you this question. Relationships, there should be boundaries, right? So I wanted to know, so if a woman's in a serious relationship, she's living with her man or she's engaged or whatnot, what are your thoughts on them receiving gifts from their ex or from their baby daddy? Should a woman, how would you feel?
Man, that's a great. Man, I would feel some kind of way because I feel like why is he still getting you gifts if he know if they know that you are in a committed relationship, right? Why does he feel comfortable still getting you gifts? And why are you taking it? I think she had. I don't know. For me, I feel like she has to set that boundary with those who's, hey, I'm in a relationship with a man here. You don't need to get me. You don't need to get me any gift. I'm in a relationship. That's how I feel about in that situation there.
I can agree with that. The motive behind the gift can obviously vary,
right?
But it could be something that is in relation. You're taking care of my child. Here's an extra $500 to help out with bills or something like that. So I guess depending on what the gift is and how it's presented, I guess could have an impact on it. But if it's some jewelry or something where, it could be, I guess the better way to say it, her transparency level about it would play a large part in it.
No question.
But I don't have any experience dealing with a baby daddy or ex or anything like that. So I've never experienced it firsthand. But the way that I would view that scenario, whether I would feel like it was something she should have refused or not, would be really in how it's presented. Like what I said, hey, I know it's the first coming up. I shoot you. I know I'll give you $1,000 for child support, but I'm gonna give you $1,500 at this point because I know you have to do Christmas. Like something like that, I can see that would not necessarily be problematic. So I guess that can go both ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Towards the kids' eye, like I said, if it's towards the kids' eye, I guess you have a point there. But if it's like you said, if it's a company that's considered, I guess, relatively, some nice jewelry from someone, jewelry from Tiffany's, then yeah, I can see what that would create problems there.
Absolutely. But so let's switch gears, man. Let's talk about some of the positive things that can come from the holidays. Because like I was saying earlier, I do feel like when you bring somebody around your family, that is a test that allows you to judge them or evaluate them on multiple fronts. So how they interact with your family. What is your family's overall perspective of that person after interacting with them on Christmas? All these things to me come into play. And so some of the things that I would be evaluating is how their selflessness or willing to help. Are they there just in the corner? Are they interacting with other people? Are they, helping out? One of the things that I've always done, like any good get together I met, if the trash is full, hey, where y'all keep the trash bags? Hey, what I'm saying? Like, so I can change a trash bag, or hey, we out of waters, where y'all keep the water at? I need y'all, what I'm saying? Like, do something helpful. Getting ice, doing those type of things. I think those are the kind of things that make a guy get recognized. Like, oh, you got you a solid dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the type of things that in my opinion, show a person is family oriented and willing to help facilitate family functions.
No, that's what I think, and you know, it's a great point you make. You know, you're doing things to make yourself useful around that house. That you know, you're a guest at somebody else's house, but you still find a way to make yourself useful in there. Emptying out trash and putting a new trash bag in there. Helping around with little things like food. Yeah, it might be little things, but it shows that, hey, this is a good person that that you have around the house and everything. So
Right.
definitely. But some people don't. Some people just come there. You always hear the thing, hey, never come to somebody's house, empty-handed. And you got some folks that don't even do that. They come, they don't even bring something to somebody else's house. Some people don't even know that one.
Yeah, I guess on Christmas, I think that's less of a big deal. But
Yeah.
I do think, judging the interactions, the opportunity to have one-on-one conversations with members of the family, interact with the kids, etc. I think all those things are great opportunities that can enhance or take a relationship to the next level. And I say that because I didn't realize me and my wife were seriously dating until our holidays became merged. And I'm like,
Okay.
damn, because it wasn't something I talked about or something I just planned on, like, oh, I'm gonna start bringing a girl to my grandma's house, or what I'm saying. So
Right.
it wasn't that. It was, I'm going by my grandparents' house, then I'll ride to New Orleans with you, because I needed to see my mom too. So it was kind of just like a convenience thing. But when you show up with another person, it automatically causes your family to start opening up, like, oh, that's a big deal, I think, to most families. When you bring a chick, and unless your reputation becomes, I guess it's to be viewed negatively. Dang, he brings somebody you had a different chick.
What happened to the last one?
Yeah, what happened to the last person you had? So that can.
I think it could create some. I think it creates a level of awkwardness, right? As you bring it into, and some, hey, somebody goes, hey, well, what happened to such and such from last time, or something like that. So it's situations I see where it can create an awkward moment there for everybody.
Now, I saw a video, and I had commented on recently, where it was a guy and a woman it was a situation where they had 3 kids, and he found out the kids wasn't his, but his family still invited her and the kids to Christmas. And so he's like, man, y'all ain't my family, get the hell out, trying to get them to leave and all this. So it created a scene, and then people posted on social media, so it went viral. I would be done with my family after that, bro. I would be so hot. Because I get it. I understand everybody had built a relationship with the kids and all that. But if I'm still in the process of dealing with finding out something that traumatizing, and y'all ruin my holiday by secretly inviting them, it would be very difficult for me to get, to come back to another family get together, with y'all. So you can do some major damage with who shows up with Christmas or how things go off. I can't imagine it. My family's pretty drama free. But it can get.
I could imagine, but yeah, I mean these things happen. Everybody's family dynamics are different, but these things, I would cut off family too, because they knew, and they just, you feel like, because I could see that's embarrassing.
Betrayal, man.
Yeah, you just feel like everybody knew, and you just left out in the dirt. You just left out in the dust, and you just sitting there looking crazy, looking like a whole crash dummy out here. Yeah, I'd be pissed. I'm like, yeah, we good. We ain't got nothing to talk about no more. Y'all all have a nice life.
Yeah, man. I when I saw the video, I just for her to think it's all good to show up with 3 kids, and he is like, man. But what do you expect from a woman that would have 3 kids with a guy that she's having, pregnant by other men? So the morals and the just the level of respect is obviously not there. So that was one of the extreme situations that I saw that would have I would have had to cut ties with a lot of people. But it looked like, man, we up against the clock. We about to get up out of here, man. Hopefully we can have SD back next week so we can start 2026 off right. Before we go, man, I want to give another shout out to my man, Brother Soul Productions, for keeping us laced with our background music. I want to remind everybody to continue supporting the podcast through our Cash App and our PayPal. Jay, I appreciate you linking up so we can get this episode knocked out. This has been another episode of the Ho to Husband podcast, y'all. Thanks for tuning in.